Ta-da. Right. Well, warm welcome to tonight's talk. I've been so excited to talk to Saskia. And I'm never very professional. And then when I start to talk, I go like camera shy, but warm welcome. Yeah, I'm awful. I came across Saskia's flower essences, and I have to apologize because I don't know. Most people know about my story with Drago, and you know about my story with Drago. He's knocked a tooth out, and sometimes I feel like I'm stammering a little bit because of my tooth. So I'm conscious, probably don't even sound it, but I came across Saskia's flower essences. I think just before Christmas last year, my dear friend Lisa recommended you, and she said, Jen, you need to try her essences. Go for the blend that she douses, and it's a special blend especially for you. And I thought in my heart, it's a big yes, I need to do this. At the time, I was at a crossroads because of the lockdown, my career at Ragdale Hall ended, and I never thought I was ever going to leave Ragdale. I loved it. As a therapist, I absolutely loved the place. I loved my job. I thought I was going to be there forever and ever, but lockdown happened, and then that ended the career because I couldn't wear the mask. And then I had the opportunity to return. But in the meantime, I'd built up my business. So I was at a crossroads. Do I return or do I keep on my path? I really don't know what to do. So I reached out to you. You made me a blend, especially for me. And I took it every morning, 7 drops in the morning, 7 drops in the evening, religiously. And it wasn't until I finished the blend that something happened emotionally and it triggered something in me. But rather than responding how I would have done normally, I was calm. I was like, it went over my head. I can't even remember what it was, but it went over my head. And I thought, I've not changed anything about me. I haven't changed my mantra. I haven't changed my outlook. Nothing changed apart from your essences. And I thought, oh my gosh, your essences has worked. And since then, I've just like taken had other planes like focused, and then also because of my tooth being knocked out, I've recently been using the trauma one. And I know from the trauma one, it's like opening up another doorway because I know I've got old trauma to deal with. And so, but it isn't just, I mean, what I love about, I mean, I am going to hand it over to Saskia in a minute, but what I love about your essences is like they are blended in your home. They're not going to a retail place where they pick up the energy of people passing by and that traffic. They are lovingly made. But as a therapist, I know we don't always talk about our innermost hurts and trauma. And I personally, from my background, I don't always want to talk about my past. I don't want to bring up the past. I want to be happy. I want to live in this best life possible, but I know there's things that needs to be healed. And that's what I love about the essences, because there's like a little bottle that you take and it does its magic, and it does its work. It doesn't judge you. You're not raking up the past. You're not reliving the old hurts or pain. And they work on a vibrational level. They work energetically. They work, and it's phenomenal. And also, what I love about it is like you could spend thousands and thousands going to therapists. Says me, who's a therapist, or you could have a little bottle.
Just one bottle and you're done.
Yeah,
with no pain, no anything.
No, but
it still blows me away.
It's blown me away, Saskia, and that's why I'm so excited. But what I love is like you can have bottles, essences, and the flowers and the plants. You take on their qualities, you take on their wisdom, and so it's just blown me away, and it's phenomenal. But please, I love it. I tell everyone about it. Please explain to everyone.
Well, we don't want to do you out of a job of being a therapist, but when I discovered essences, which was kind of we've been making essences now for 20 years. So it's before that, probably about 3 or 4 years before that. My kids were kind of like preteen and they're having trouble at school, and my life was chaos, you know, like young mums, and you got running 3 jobs, and you got a relationship, and you got the shopping, and you got the school, whatever, headmistress ringing up, all that, you know, just stuff, life, you know. It's like, all right, you know, none of us have, if you're in the healing modalities, none of us have had an easy ride getting here, but there wasn't like really serious trauma in my past that I kind of needed a therapist to go to, or didn't. I mean, obviously therapy helps everyone, but it wasn't like I needed it desperately like that. But my life was becoming unmanageable, and me and a friend who was a homeopath, we came across the Australian bush essences, and started using those, and it was like that, like you said, you just take your drops and they sort it for you. It's like you don't need to talk to anyone, you don't need to dredge up the past, you don't have to go through it. It felt a bit like, I've got a problem, I haven't got time to deal with it, but I can remember to take my drops. So twice a day, by the washing up, there was my bottle, and I take my bottle because I could remember twice a day, that's where I was at least. And yeah, it's just like handing all your problems over to someone else, and someone else is the plants who are telling you subconsciously, usually, but often you can kind of feel them like inside of you going, what you need to do is do it, just do that, or don't say that thing in that way, just, you know, like having friends who like going, come on Saskia, it'd be much better if you know, did it this way, or you were more confident, or you were, you know, less interrupty, or whatever it was, whatever the issue was. And when we started making our own essences, mostly because I was a florist and gardener and I knew my plants, and Christine, who she trained as a homeopath, she knew her plants too, but we didn't know the Australian plants. So these essences that were really useful and really worked, I couldn't work out why they did what they did because I didn't know the plants. So we thought and also we didn't have loads of money to buy all the ones that we wanted, or thought we needed with the kids and everything, all of us. So we thought we'd give it a go because it's really simple to make your own flower essence. And anyone listening who wants to make their own flower essence, email me and I'll send you guidelines because it's a really good process to do. Yeah, so we thought we'd give it a go. It worked. We made our first one. It was brilliant, and then we were hooked on what all the flowers did and why. So for me, making flower essences, I've come at it from an angle of knowing the plants and knowing that they wanted to help the humans and what they could help with, whereas lots of people who get into flower essences come at it from a therapy side and have got a human that they want to help, and they know the essences will help them. So it's a kind of slightly different in that I've come from the real plant angle of like the plants want to get out and do their work, so it feels like it's my job to get out and give them to everyone or sell them. Well, that's what happened basically, was we made so many and we couldn't afford to keep giving them away, so we thought we might have to sell them because they were so brilliant. You know, they really, you know, like you said, they just do it, you know. And it's quite, you know, it sounds a bit woo-woo, the kind of vibrational medicine thing to some people. More and more people are realizing that everything's a vibration and how affected we are by vibrations. But if you kind of think, I like analogies, but if you think of like, if someone showed you a record and you didn't have a record player and they just showed you a record and told you there was a song in there, you wouldn't, you know, and you'd never seen a record before, you wouldn't believe them, would you? And when someone gives you a little blue bottle and says, oh, this has got the vibration of a plant in it, take it and it'll change how you behave, it's like, it's quite hard to get your head around. However, if you put the record on the record player and the vibration of the music comes through the airwaves and into your ear and changes how you feel, then you believe it, don't you? So with the flower essence, when you take that liquid into your body and you notice you feel different and you behave different and you respond differently to situations, it's like, it's quite straightforward. You know, it's like the bottle contains the vibration of that plant. And what Edward Bach discovered in the 1930s when he was the kind of father of flower essences, modern flower essences, he discovered that if once you've got your energized water, which is energized with the one kind of the vibration of that plant, if you add alcohol it fixes that vibration in the water, which is why most essences are in alcohol. In the Bach ones are in brandy, ours are in vodka. But when you dilute them down to the right vibrations that the human can kind of hear, you can choose cider vinegar or alcohol with our range, because we know lots of people don't like alcohol. But yeah, so it's just like, it's quite straightforward and really simple, and as you said, not expensive, and they're just like brilliant tools. I mean, they you know, if you've got physical illnesses, they're not desperately good. They can help, you know, like as you said, if you've got trauma, or they can help you through a chronic illness, just bringing you some support and stuff. But in general, they help with emotional and behavioral stuff, rather than physical issues. But yeah, they're just, you know, they're just so easy.
They're very easy, and I also messaged you, didn't I? I was just listening to you talk. I was just thinking, like, I have a fear of driving because I'm the main driver now, but I can't remember what essence. Oh, it was one of your trial ones. It was.
Yeah. Calendula. Did you try
Oh
calendula?
yeah, I tried that one, but it was it oh gosh, it's like not Black Orchid.
Bee orchid. No.
No, I've had that one,
Black
Bee Orchid.
hollyhock.
No, it wasn't that one. It's dragonfly.
Oh yeah, the dragon lily, Ranunculus vulgaris.
Yes, the dragon lily. And literally the day before I was going to travel down to Cornwall, it said it overrode all the other ones, and it said, take me, come on, get in the car, get on with it, don't mess around. That's what I heard, and that's what I took. And like driving down to Cornwall is one thing, but driving around Cornwall, those narrow roads are like footpaths, it's like a whole different world. It was just like life-changing. It was I still had like little wobbles where I'm thinking, oh my god, I don't like this, but I just can't explain just how blown away I am, how powerful they are. And it's and the thing is, like, sometimes you can, like, hypnotherapy works, but you need to have ongoing hypnotherapy. But what I have found with your flower essences, you take them, and then it, to me personally, it's fixed that problem. I'm empowered, I'm stronger, and it doesn't wear off or go away. It's like bringing my whole essence and the whole of my being back to who I truly am as a soul, because I believe we're born whole, complete, with great strength, great capability, and the essences are just reminding us and recalibrating, so we back into that energy of who we are. So what so once you've taken one, it doesn't wear off. You keep moving forward.
I mean, it does depend on the person and the issue and how old the issue is often. With kind of acute stuff or stuff that's appearing right in front of you, and you're responding in relation to something else, what taking an essence just for a couple of weeks can completely shift that can shift that issue. But what I've found over the years with giving people essences is that they have core essences that deal with their issues that they've had from childhood or whatever. And for old issues, it can come up every, you know, sometimes it comes up, the same essence comes up every 3 months for them or so. You know, we're so used to behaving a certain way. It's like, you know, it's like breaking a addiction almost. It's like, you know, how you behave, you in your unhealed being. And the essence will help shift that the first time. And as you say, sometimes that's it, done. But for some things, it kind of, you need it again just to kind of keep reminding you. It's like having, you know, like having a conversation. I often, you know, they're like having friends, you know, like friends will have a conversation with you and tell you something, and then you kind of won't take any notice of it, or you'll just forget it, and then they need to tell you again. So it's not, you know, but you are right in that, and you shouldn't have to take an essence forever. You know, if you have trouble sleeping, for instance, the essences will help shift those patterns that are troubling you, you know, whether that's thoughts going around or not being able to relax or whatever. They'll help you do that, and you shouldn't have to then take that essence till you die. You know, it will work and teach you how to behave in a different way, whether that's, you know, having better, you know, habits before bed, or not, you know, not drinking alcohol or eating sugar or whatever, that reminding you of those things, but also the not worrying stuff. So on that as an example.
And I agree with you, because getting back to, like, I've been taking the shock release because I reached out to you and I said, like, you know, this has happened. I want to prepare myself for this tooth transplant that I'm going to have on the 8th of December. But then it's also like, it's made me it's brought into my awareness that there's still some grief that I'm dealing with from losing my mum and dad. So I'm taking the shock release. It's really, really helping, but it's also made me don't keep shoving some stuff under the carpet. Come on, let's deal with this now. So you're right. You know, some things it fixes, or not fixes, that's not the right word, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's now making me realize, come on, let's gently embrace this full journey or shock release. You wanted it for your tooth, but underlying
there's other stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like peeling an onion, you know, you shift one thing and more reveals itself, you know, to be transmuted or changed or released or whatever. You know, and we never, you know, even once we get back to, you know, and you were right in saying that the job of flower essence is to do whatever they can to bring you back to your truest form, your most healed form that you're meant to be. And that is the thing that all plants have, is that they, wherever they are and whatever they're doing, they are the truest versions of themselves they can possibly be. You know, so like a dandelion seed lands in a crack in the pavement, which isn't its ideal environment, but it will be as dandelionish as it can. You know, there's no lies, there's no pretending, there's no hiding, pretending it's something else. It's just like a dandelion. And so taking any flower essence, that's their job, is to bring you back to that truest version of yourself when you're the most you can be, without your childhood traumas or your grief or your, you know, as you say, we're born as whole beings, and then along the way it all gets weirded out. You know, it's like stuff happens. But however, even if you use essences to get back to that truest form of yourself, that truest form is still having to deal with everyone else, you know, the stuff out there. And stuff happens, you know, like you say, you know, parents die or children have issues, or, you know, accidents or whatever, you know. So we will always need essences, however healed we are. And then the patterns sometimes kick in, or you have a new relationship and old relationship stuff comes up and you kick into old patterns or whatever. You know, there's always stuff, you know, none of us are perfect.
No. And also, like, you know, listening to you talk, the one thing that is like really like how beautiful and amazing the plants are, because it feels like they're in the background, like, you know, like even if nobody's suffered any trauma, like when we switch on the TV and we see the news and the media and what they portray, everything is being, that like takes us away from nature. But it's almost like the plants are there in the background, just waiting for us to return to them, loving us unconditionally, like a mother, like waiting to embrace us, like come back to us, come back to nature, come back. That's where you belong. They're so loving.
We are nature, and we often forget, you know, we see nature as being outside of ourselves, so that's nature out there, but actually we're part of it. Humans, you know, it's we're the animals, we've just got this separation that was happened over the, you know, centuries.
Which
I often think of the trees that they see us like toddlers. It's like, oh, one day they'll realize what they're doing, but in the meantime we just have to let them get on with it. They'll realize how they're supposed to be behaving on this planet, but it's like, oh well, whatever.
What, and following from that what you just said, what do you think what do you think the trees want to tell us? I mean, how should we be behaving?
Well, with more gratitude for a start, and more reverence for them, and calm, you know. Most people, when we think back to that, which isn't that long ago, when we think back to that first lockdown and the amount of people who just go, just saying it, you just go, oh God, wasn't that nice? You know, it was really quiet and gentle. We just stayed at home. All right. I know it wasn't the same for everyone. I was very lucky in that I live on my own and quite like my own company. But just like, you know, just having half an hour to chat to the neighbour over the wall, you know, when usually we're just like, oh, I've got to go, you know, got to go and pick up the kids. You've got 10 minutes, and you're like, no. And it was like, oh, we can open this conversation. We can actually find out about each other. We can spend time, you know, real time with people, being bored, or, you know, watching telly or knitting, whatever, you know, all those things we did, going for walks and not polluting everything and living really quite simply because we couldn't get stuff, you know. It was just, for me, that's kind of, you know, that's just a glimpse of how it could be. when we get back to that not rushing and the not needing to have loads of stuff to kind of fill our lives with. And
Yeah.
be, you know, in family units where we actually spend time and listen to each other. You know, I had a conversation yesterday. I was on a local radio thing down in Totnes. We were talking about my new men's range I've just bought out, and we spent 2 hours just talking through, you know, through three of us, and then another guy came in and was chatting, and we spent 2 hours just went by like that, of talking about, all right, I can talk forever about fluorescences. And it was my, you know, we were talking about fluorescences, but we were just saying how rare it is these days that we're all just caught up in our phones and technology and telly and all those things, how rare it is just to sit and have a conversation with a group of people for like a couple of hours. Right, if you have a dinner party, you mightn't you? But really, we don't do it anymore. We don't, and we're all just, you know, we're just longing for that connection, that communication with other humans and nature, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you that when the lockdown happened, where everyone else was starting to bake and decorate, I was like, no, stuff that. I was like walking Mayor, like I could never understand why it was always said like stay indoors, when actually the best thing for our bodies
was to get the vitamin D outside.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. We can't go into the why and
no.
It was just, for me, that's the memory. You know, I can think back to my childhood when we weren't, you know, when life was slower and, you know, you got bored in the summer holidays and those kind of things. But yeah, I was just, you know, you asked the questions, how should we be being? You know, and we've gone right sideways off track, and something's going to happen to pull us back on, because that's the way nature works. You know, again, the pandemic was a kind of glimpse of, you know, that could have just kind of, okay, let's see,
a wake-up call, I think, don't you?
Yeah, it was a wake-up call, but also it was like a chance when it could have rebalanced. You know, I know there's too many humans on the planet, and it would be been quite an easy way to get rid of quite a lot of us. You know, someone said, well, yeah, but what if it was your mum? I was like, well, if it was, it might be, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But yes, we're not really here to talk about that.
No, we're not. No, we're
but
not.
Yes, no, but the essence in my company, which is now thriving. But as I said, our first essences we made like 20 years ago. So I had like 15 years of getting to know them. And then 2017, I decided I was doing it with someone else, and I decided to take them on because I'd moved down to Somerset rather than Gloucestershire, and I was taking on more and more of it anyway. And Christine, who'd made the essences, she had loads of other stuff she wanted to do. I said, okay, well, I'll take it on, and I kind of rebranded and stopped my other jobs, and just have done that since. But lockdown was great because people were at home buying online, and they really needed the essences. So for us as a company, it was kind of like the beginning, really. And I've got my little shop in Wincanton we just were able to stay open because it was essential or whatever, and I could
definitely.
I wasn't, well, actually the shop wasn't open, but I could still go there and send off orders.
Yeah, it's really interesting because like in 2017 there was a major shift in the cosmos, or in the universe it was. So in 2017, like without going into
astrological whatever,
yes, yeah,
do you know what it was? I would like to know.
Well, in 2017 the moon lost its power, so the moon has lost its influence on us. But if, like, I've been speaking to Ola Wonley about the moon, and what I love about you is when you make your essences, you do it in the sunshine, and the sun is female. The sun is a very feminine, a very powerful, beautiful energy. We should all connect to the sun in the sunrise and sunset, not in the middle of the sun in the day. So the sun is very, very, very powerful. But in 2017, something happened, and in astrology terms. But when we look back on the last 2 years, because of the way the stars are aligned, there was a lot of shakeup. So like your journey of your path onto the Saskia flower essences that I know you as, that started at the right moment for you at the right time. And the last couple of years, they might have been like up and down for you, really kind of scary, endings and beginnings. but you are, as we all are, on the cusp of a new birth, rebirthing. So everything that's happening is happening for the highest, not the highest good of us. That sounds very new agey, but we're on the cusp of a new birth, rebirth. So
Yeah.
everything that you've gone through to get your company where it is, it's exactly where it is now. All
Yeah.
those changes occurred and happened. You are so much stronger and very, very, very much needed. I mean, I talk about your range to everyone, and I share them, and I'm so passionate about them. But you and everyone, like, it's like we're exact everything that we've all gone through, we're exactly where we need to be, and we're now rebirthing into our soul plan, what we came here for as souls.
Yeah.
You came here with your original plan, me too, everyone else same, we've all came. And the way everything is happening in the universe is supporting us. So these next few weeks, months, is so important to not replenish, but really nurture ourselves, because we're on it's I think 2024 is going to be very exciting. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes. I think it is. I feel it is too. And it feels like we're tying up ends and getting things sorted and
Yeah.
ready for that. But yeah.
Yeah. So I use your sprays when I do my treatments, like the Protect and Clear. Whenever I do a healing session, I always spray that before the session. My personal space, I actually took that to Ragdale Hall because I was like, it is empty nearly. Because, when we come into contact with other human beings, we can energetically pick up on their things as well. So I always think this is like a little golden bubble of protection around us. But I spoke to you via email. Babies can use your essences, can't they?
Yeah. I mean, that's what, and again, one of the things I love about them is if you can't do anything, you can't do any wrong. Because it's just the vibration. All right, you could say there's a bit of alcohol in them, and some mums wouldn't want to give their babies drops of alcohol till. I mean, we used to get dosed with gripe water, which was kind of alcohol.
And stout.
It was like 4% alcohol, so I've forgotten how much alcohol it was, but it was quite strong. But yeah, we all have different relationships to alcohol. But apart from that, being out, you can absorb them through the skin. So from birth till death, again, they're really great for going through the dying, leaving the planet and moving on to the next thing, and healed as possible. But yes, really safe. And because they contain no material matter, they are completely safe alongside medication. It's like they're not going to interfere with, if you had a homeopath, you might want to mention you were taking essences because some of them, cross over. But otherwise, it's like they're just completely safe. And if you take the wrong one, it just won't do anything. It's like having a conversation at a party with someone who's really doesn't interest you. It's like that's what it's like having these new friends. But if it's a teacher who's got something to teach you, then you're going to learn it. If it's a teacher who you're not, someone who's teaching mechanics and you're not interested in mechanics, they can talk to you for half an hour and you wouldn't take any of it on board at all. So if you take the wrong essence, it's like that. It's that analogy. It's like, oh, well, they were talking about so and so, but I wasn't really listening because it really didn't interest me. Whereas if you come across a teacher who's got something you really need and you really want, you'll listen straight away, won't you? And you'll remember it. These older brains sometimes don't, I must say, might read it anyway, but yes. So it's like that. So you can take the wrong one, but it just wouldn't work. And when you take the right one, it's like, oh my God, it's amazing.
It's phenomenal. Isn't it?
I wouldn't be sat here, in this form at all. I mean, the essences have brought so much change and shift to me in my life.
Yeah. And I think one of the like you were born in Gloucestershire, weren't you? And
Yeah.
I was born in Gloucestershire, and I think
I wasn't actually born in Gloucestershire. I was born in Lowestoft in East Anglia, but I moved there when I was 2, when my sister was born. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Gloucestershire is quite magical, isn't it? You were more
Yeah.
towards Stroud, weren't you?
It actually in Stroud when I was a child. Yeah.
Yeah, whereas I was more Chedworth, and I think that was the other thing that really connected me with you. So
the
the other
essences were
thing,
made in those valleys. The Stroud.
that's where they began, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So what took you to Somerset?
That's a long story.
Okay, don't go into
I
that.
think for another time.
Yeah, another
But
day, another day.
it's kind of a time in my life I just needed to move somewhere, and it was basically, you know, the short story was it was a job, gardening job, but
Ah,
I did want to move, and I wanted to move it down here. And I love Somerset. I love the space. I love the kind of reverence for farming. It's kind of unpretentious. It's just getting on with it. It's like not fancy.
is
Um,
the energy different? Is the
yeah,
energy?
no, it is. It feels quite different to me. When I go back to Stroud, and my dad still lives there, and one of my sons,
Oh,
and their father, his father. So I go there quite a bit. But yeah, it's just like the energy gets the valley. I think if you live in a valley, the energy can get trapped in the valley and the fumes. I find it, and it's a lot busier, and there's a lot of traffic, and the roads are really bad, and it's like,
yeah,
yeah, it's just really different energy. I mean, it's Stroud's a particular place, but
yeah.
Somerset is, and again, Somerset has its different areas. I'm not right in the levels. I'm not in the really muddy, damp bit, although it's pretty wet out there at the moment.
Bit
But
wet in Melton Mowbray.
yeah, it's kind of on the border between. But yes, no, I've been here more than 10 years now. But
Lovely.
you know, but anyway, yeah.
My just on a personal note, and especially to anyone else who's pregnant, is there any essences? My daughter is announced that she's pregnant. She's 14
Okay.
weeks pregnant, so I'm going to be a
Oh,
nana. Is there any essences that she could take that would support her with her childbirth? And
yeah, there are. In fact, I make a new mum's set, a new mum support kit, which has sleep spray, which is brilliant for you and the baby, shock release, which is any physical kind of trauma like surgery or like you with your tooth or childbirth or whatever, and for the child will be in trauma because it will have gone through the birth canal. Hopefully, have a natural birth.
she wants a natural birth at
Yeah,
home.
yeah, but yeah, so before and after any slight nervousness, and then calm and confident, just because especially if she's a first time mom, it's like there's so much new stuff in there, and these days I've recently become a grandmother beginning of the
Oh,
year, February.
congratulations.
Thank you. I don't feel like I have much to do with it. And because they live in South Wales, I don't see them very often,
Mm,
but yeah, you realize this kind of whole social media, and you can get information and you can Google things in the middle of the night, you know, like we do with our illnesses. It's like, oh, the baby's doing this. It's perhaps I have to take her to the doctors. Is it urgent? You know, it's like you can get yourself real knickers in a twist. So the calm and confident just brings you back to, you know, your own inner knowing, and just taking it easy and slowly and just going with it and trusting that you know best, rather than seeing what all the other mums on Instagram are doing with their babies and the natural, you know, all those kind of things. You're seeing the best version of them. They're not, you know, hot and sweaty in the middle of the night and tired and screaming and everything. Yeah, so the calm and confident. So
yeah.
there's a kind of little kit, but it kind of depends. Every mum, every birth is different. Every baby's different. So there will be different issues, and the father obviously is involved.
Mm.
Hopefully,
Oh,
uh,
definitely, definitely,
yeah.
definitely.
So
And
you can't assume these things, can you?
oh
But
no,
and that's what's been really interesting, because it's my son's baby, is seeing him, and the shifts that he's had to go through. And again, using he does now. When they were young, they were like, "Well, there's rubbish, mum. I'm not taking that rubbish." And I used to drop it in their bath. Very good to put it in the bath. And with the babies as well, you can put the essences in their baths, in the bath water, which is a really nice way of absorbing them through your skin. But yes, I gave him my box set, and he uses it quite a lot, to help him with all those challenges, you know, that come up.
and
He,
I think that's lovely because isn't it when babies are born into this world, they like I work in a nursery 2 days a week looking after babies, and babies don't come with all the baggage, do they? So I think like when you said put some drops in the bath, I could just see the baby like, yeah, this is normal. This is
yeah,
natural. The plants are holding the baby, and the connection
yeah,
must be so magical and so beautiful.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure that we do come in empty. I think, you know, we forget it quite quickly. All the last
Yeah,
stuff that was
yeah,
going
the
on.
past life. Yeah, because
Yeah,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and again with my granddaughter, her mother said, "Oh, can you bring some more of that easy sleep spray, because I don't think we'll get through bedtime without it." So it's become part of their ritual, you know. It's like and you get with the mist, you get the aromatherapy aspect, but also that just a remembering that smell means it's bedtime, you know, that kind
Oh,
of association. And it has the essences to calm as well, so it's made bedtime loads easier apparently.
brilliant. Right, I'm
So,
going to get
so
that for
I
Emma.
was very pleased with that, and hopefully, yeah, I mean, she'll
I'll
go
get that for
the
Emma.
essences throughout her life now. But yeah, it's good to get them used to the idea. And the amount of people who come into my shop and go, "Oh, flower essences! I love flower essences. My mum used to give me essences when we were kids," and they kind of forget about them, and then they come back to them when they need them, usually.
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
finally, the menopause.
Yes.
Menopause is like, I mean, I'm loving the
Well, it's a
menopause.
big subject at the moment, and I kind of hopefully I'm nearly through mine, but
I'm at the begin. Well, I don't know where I am in the,
yeah,
but I'm
we do,
like,
you don't know, but it's yeah,
but my
it's a
friend,
big subject. And
it is.
with the essence, again, I've got a menopause support kit for that. You've got the two, which is very similar, which has got calm and confident again, and the easy sleep, but it's also got sexy and gorgeous. Calm and confident, because I realized myself and lots of women who come to me, anxiety is the big extra thing that comes up for us. But also the sexy and gorgeous it's got in it, but just because you kind of feel a bit invisible, and sometimes if you're in a relationship, the sex is quite a big thing, issue becomes more difficult, or you're less into it or whatever. And also you just feel a bit dreary and a bit kind of sometimes overweight or not as attractive, all those kind of things. And so sexy and gorgeous just brings this kind of inner self-belief in a bit of sass,
Inner
which,
goddess.
which are like, yeah, just that kind of just having a good time, and letting people see you for who you are, which is really nice. So I put that in it. But yeah, again, everyone deals with the menopause differently, and also because lots of the issues are to do with hormone imbalance, the essences won't help with that. My sister came to me saying, "Oh my God, I got insomnia and I can't take anything. I'll help me sleep. What have you got?" And so I sent her my essences, but because it was so hormone related, she never had a sleep problem before. And it wasn't a thought issue or anxiety. It was just the actual hormones were stopping her sleep. So there wasn't much I could do about that, really.
No, no, but I know.
But the kind of, the stuff that comes up, yeah,
Yeah,
they're really useful.
but I know my friend Julie, like she can't get enough of your calm and confident.
Yeah,
That
yeah. It's the
she's
anxiety, the increased anxiety is a pig,
yeah,
it is.
and she is really helped, that the essence, like really, really, really
Yeah.
helped. But it is not, it's like when we look at things holistically, it's like the essences have got their place, collagen and all the other supplements you can have, good lifestyle, good
Yeah,
food,
yeah.
sunshine, fresh air,
No
and
wheat,
just
no wheat, no sugar, no
yeah,
alcohol.
yeah,
And not saying that we shouldn't ever have them, but if you stop, it's lots of your symptoms do go away. It's incredible. The amount of women I say, okay, Japanese women don't suffer from menopausal symptoms hardly at all, because their diet's so different.
yeah,
It's like they don't have all that sugar and all the crap and all the McDonald's and the biscuits and the whatever that we have here, and that a lot of it is to do with that.
it
I
is, it
believe.
is. I think anxiety's got a lot to do with
Yeah,
our diet, isn't
yeah,
it?
really
Because
lots.
we're not eating like our grandmas and
No, no.
granddads used to eat,
The
are
caffeine
we?
and everything, Yeah.
Yeah, but that's another subject. But
Yes. Yeah. You can have a nutritional therapist on to talk about that.
yes,
There are quite a lot of, in fact, people who really struggle. I do pass them on to nutritional therapists, because there are some that specialize in hormone issues, and diet can really, really make a difference. But
yeah.
yes, but your emotional stuff, the essences are great. Just have them, have it in your bag.
Oh,
If it's hormonal stuff like the emotional relief, that kind of like weepy kind of, I can't deal with it any longer kind of thing. The emotional relief's really good for that. Yeah, so the blends are the easy way to start
yeah,
in general, going back to essences, because they deal with kind of acute front symptoms. It's like if you can't sleep, if you have anxiety, if you're procrastinating, whatever, they're easy to choose, and the names are easy. And then once that's shifted, then you can use the single essences or a blend to come back and deal with the back stories. that have caused those issues often.
Yeah, no, I like I started at this start of our conversation, like they've blown me away how powerful. And a lot of things we are too much in our heads. We're not in our actual bodies. And I think the essences just help us just come back into our bodies. And it's almost like we can go, that's how they seem to work for me. It's almost like,
Stop
moments.
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
When again I had this conversation yesterday with these guys. It's like we might know that we need to stop worrying, or we need to let go, or we need to do this or do that, but we don't know how. Like as you say, talking therapy can help kind of get it out there. But if someone says just stop worrying about it, you go, well, yeah, it'd be really nice if I could, But the essence, you just give that problem to an essence, and it just goes, okay, this is how you stop worrying about it, and it's just done. Just like like a dose. It's like having when I had the teenage boys and they weren't home at 11 o'clock at night and they weren't answering their phones and I didn't know where they were and my head was all the scenarios going on. It's like it takes a few drops of red chestnut and you go to sleep. It's like, well, I can't do anything about it now. See what happens in the morning.
Exactly.
We'll deal with it in the morning if something has happened, but it usually hadn't. Sometimes,
no,
but usually it hadn't. Usually, you
yeah,
in the morning and you go, "What was all that about? Why was I worrying about them falling in? Getting on their bikes in the canal or whatever it was I was worried about."
exactly. So, but the other thing with the essences is like you just need to. I from my personal point of view, I mean, you've created them for the last 20 odd years, but you just take them and don't have any expectations. I found that very first time I took that blend that you created especially for me, and I just took it with no expectations, no like it's got to work or anything, and then you religiously in the morning and in the evening just take them and they work their magic.
Yeah, and so sometimes people notice straight away within minutes. And I often, when I have classes, we just take an essence and check in just for a minute, and everyone comes back with something. You can notice them that quickly. And for other people, if your life's busy and you're hectic and is a kind of quite a big block, it could take taking it twice a day for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you look back and you go, "Oh, I'm not doing that thing. I haven't troubled me. I had that conversation with my partner without getting cross with him or whatever it was." And
that must have been me, big blocks.
Yeah. So sometimes they're big blocks, and it takes a while to, a lot of listening to what that plant's got to say to actually take notice and do it. But it's not a conscious thing. It's just you keep taking it, and then it's suddenly shifted. And sometimes it's like overnight, especially with kids, because their problems aren't so stuck, and they're more used to change, so they're not so resistant to changing. But yeah, it's like sometimes people go, oh, I send them a blend and it's like the next day they're going, oh my God, I can't believe how different I feel. I mean, things are changing pretty fast at the moment on the planet anyway, but
yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're diverse again on.
Yeah.
It's really like, because now I'm going to be a nana. I'm really going to make sure my little grandson or granddaughter grows up with essences, because like it sounds to me like the plants are very playful, they're very supportive, they're very loving. I mean, nature is one mother, and all a mother ever wants for her children is for them to be happy and live the best possible life. So it feels to me like that's what the essences do. They just want us to live our best possible life.
Yeah. And be the truest version of ourselves. I mean, that's it really.
Yeah. So
take them, whoever's listening.
Yes.
Never used them before. Jen's got a discount code, which you can tell us.
Yes, I've got a discount code. It's named after Maya, my beautiful border collie. So it's Maya, Maya. I'll put the links in the description, and you get 10% discount off the essences. I mean, they, like that's tiny investment is so worth it. It's just phenomenal.
And also what I also will say is that if there are people watching who really can't afford essences and you really do need them, email me. I have a fund put aside for people who can't afford essences. So yeah.
And what I love about
if you really feel they're not, I mean, an essence is they're usually about £12. But if you really are struggling financially, which I have a lot in my life, and I know what it's like, and it's no judgment, no deal. You don't have to explain yourself. Just say, I need some essences, and I'll put them in the post. Yeah.
I know, and that's what I love about you, and that's why, like Emma and myself, we created these boxes, and I said to you, can I have some? I'm going to pay for them out of my own pocket to put them in extra, because I really want people to try them. I really want people to, I'd rather give them as gift to those who need it. Not those who can't afford, whatever reason, because I know how much they really help. But one thing I love about you is, like, whenever I send you a question, I'm like, Saskia, you're always there at the end of Instagram giving me the answer. You give so much of your time, energy, and your love, and it's phenomenal.
Well, it is, yeah. I mean, I feel really grateful that I have discovered what I'm here to do, and the essences of I discovered the essences, and they are who I'm meant to be. So it's kind of like, it's just part, it doesn't feel like work, but at the moment it is getting really busy. And people are so used to me replying really quickly. I'm like, I just feel bad. It's like, oh God, I haven't replied to that woman. I have to leave it till tomorrow. And so I think there will be a stage when I suddenly have to shift in the not replying straight away. But I do reply quite quickly. If you've got questions, just email me. Yeah, emails are better than messaging, because I'm aware with messaging you see that I've seen the message and I haven't replied, and then I feel bad about that. I can reply when I want.
Yeah, do what I do.
And also I can type better on my phone. It's always a bit difficult. Whereas if I can type my emails, it's much easier. Yeah,
I do voicemails, because sometimes, like, I'm like you, I get these messages. I either put love heart to say, yeah, I've heard you, I will reply, or I do those little voice notes. But yeah, I mean, I don't want you to get burnt out. So step back.
I do have the
step back.
Anyway,
we need you. So you nurture yourself, you look after yourself. We need you for you're making a massive difference. So I'm going to call it a wrap now, because you've been extremely busy, and I so appreciate your time and this conversation with you. I mean, the moment Lisa said to me, connect with her, my heart went, yeah. And then when I knew you were from Gloucestershire and we shared that bond, I was like, oh yeah. And then when I hear you talk and your accent, it's like, I've lost my Gloucestershire accent, but
I forget I've got one. Well, I suppose living in Somerset, it's kind of near. It depends who you're talking to. We all adjust to who we're talking to, don't we?
But thank you for your time. Thank you.
Yeah. Any questions, just email me. You're going to write all the information down?
I'm going to write all the information. I'm going to write your website, how to connect with you, put the code in so they get 10% discount, and ask people to sign up to your newsletters.
Oh yeah, that's always a good way. You'll be first to know, you get discount codes, you get first to know classes.
Yeah, and what I love about you don't spam people.
No, once a month. Very occasionally I do it twice a month, maybe Christmas time it might come twice, but really not. It's just things that annoy me about other people. It's like, if you sign up, it takes space just to delete it. Even if you're not going to read it, you've got to, something has to happen in your brain to go, it's like, oh, and then you end up unsigning.
And what I love about you, normally what I've found is that every time you do send an email, it's because you're just saying, here's a new blend, or here's this, and then like, and then I'm like, I need that. So that's what I love about your emails. So I do read yours, but yeah, I do delete a lot of people, and I don't even read. So yeah. So
okay.
You're amazing. But yes, you go and have a cup of tea or hot chocolate and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Nice to speak to you.
And then I'm just going to, because I said to Saskia, I can't edit things. So I'm just going to end this video by saying, thank you very much for joining our conversation. No doubt we'll have another conversation again. And hopefully, honestly, flower essences are just a welcome hug in our lives. And they've, after 20 years plus of therapy as a therapist, it's the one thing I was shout from the rooftops. They work. So say goodbye.
Bye
bye. So I'm just going to end recording. Yes.